Hello on the Rockers. We are kicking off the holidays with Olivier Award winner Lesli Margherita from Stage and Screen chatting about her holiday show at Pasadena Playhouse with our guest co-host Michael Ferrera giving us the hottest shows to see this Broadway this winter with me, your favorite host with the sassy most. Raise a glass as the drinks begin. It's On the Rocks. Ho, ho, ho.
Thank you for being
Boulevard.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Lord have mercy, buns and bows and pantyhose. On the Rocks podcast, the place where we're too glam to give a damn. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at On the Rocks On Air and on Facebook, On the Rocks Radio Show. Send me an email. Book me for a pride, wedding, funeral, quinceanera, bris. I don't care. I'll show up. Info at ontherocksradioshow.com. Also send us your questions, your guest requests, and your guest questions. We got a lot of questions today. The show is presented by Straw Hat Media. You can watch and or listen to now our over 330 episodes at ontherocksradioshow.com for free. You can watch us on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, on the Outlet.tv app, Facebook Watch if you're still on Facebook, streaming with pride on SVTV and on Channel 31 on the East Coast. Why the East Coast? I don't know. We proudly tape at UBN Go Studios, your one-stop place for podcasting. All right, let's get the show on the road. Returning to On the Rocks, my guest co-host today, Michael Ferrera, has over 20 years' experience working in the LGBTQ plus nonprofit community. Among his accomplishments, he started a youth mentoring organization called LifeWorks that is approaching its 20th anniversary. I cannot believe it's been 20 years. He worked in the foster care system with thousands of LGBTQ plus youth and advocated successfully for their equitable treatment nationwide. And as an executive director, he led the effort to raise almost $5 million to fund an AIDS monument in West Hollywood that will break ground next year. He's currently part of a new organization called Out Athlete Fund that will help support LGBTQ plus elite athletes as they train for collegiate, national, and international competitions while providing a safe and inclusive space for the athletes and fans to gather and experience those competitions live. Now, theater-wise, Michael had an early career in the theater from the age of 7 and has continued his love and support for theater by keeping it central in both his personal and professional lives. And he truly credits the performing arts for saving his life in his teens and 20s, which is a story I'm sure a lot of us have gone through. He has seen just about every Broadway show every year and has rubbed elbows and probably other body parts with numerous personalities from musical theater. Please welcome back Michael Ferrera.
Hey.
So you toured with a group called Up With People. Mm-hmm. Now, I know some people don't know Up With People, but a lot of people know Up With People.
Yes, certainly of a particular age, yes.
What was it?
So it started in the 60s, and it was basically the idea that young people are really responsible for most social justice change. And so if you could gather 100 people from a bunch of different countries and put them in a cast and not worry about whether they were particularly talented or not, you could put on a show and tour it around the world. And we went, we went to a town every couple of days, did our show, took part in community service projects during the day. We stayed with host families, and we did that for a whole year. And so it was all of us were 18 to 24, together for a year. And that was in 1987. And I actually just got off the phone with one of my friends from that cast yesterday, and we're all still in touch. So it's been a life-changing experience, but we really did. We performed 200 shows a year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it was a lot.
And that age group is a little dicey, 18 to 24.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have some stories.
Yes, traveling on buses together, staying with host families together. Yeah, you're not supposed to have any sexual relations during the year, but you can just imagine.
18 and 24? Come on. And every year you go back to Broadway, and you literally, all you do is go see shows.
Yeah, I go with 3 of my friends, and sometimes there's other guest stars, and we were there for about 5 days, and we see probably 6 shows every time. So there's one day where we're doing all in the matinee and dinner, and then the night show. But yeah, it's just a blast.
And like I said, I'm not exaggerating when you've met just about everybody on Broadway. Who's been one of your favorite meetings?
Oh boy, I go on the gay cruises, the Atlantis cruises, and was on for a week with Patty Lupone, and we've had lots of conversations about Patty over the years, and she's just so. I mean, she just let loose, even more so than she normally does.
She was with her gays.
Yeah, she can say whatever she wants to say, and everybody just hangs on every word.
Yeah.
Michael Ferrera, got to go on a cruise with him last year, on the Broadway cruise, and he's just such a delightful person, so deeply talented. And then there's a new person that I just met, Jaylani Remy, who's in Back to the Future now, and he's a kind of a new star, although he was in Lion King for a number of years. But he's incredibly talented and such a good guy, and yeah.
And it's such a small world because you and I were at brunch yesterday, and I'm like, I'm having some more Broadway people on the show later this month.
Like, from Back to the Future.
Him.
I'm like, Jaylani?
That's him. He will be on the show in a couple of weeks. So that's such a small world. And,
it's so funny.
Yeah, and
now I was telling you, and we'll talk about it a little later, that I have friends in 3 shows now on Broadway, and it's like so crazy to I was on stage with one when I was younger, and now she's in Wicked. That's just so fun to see people still working and being so great.
Well, and it's good to see Broadway thriving again.
Mm-hmm.
I know we were all a little scared during COVID what was going to happen.
Now the problem is they don't have enough theaters to bring all the shows in. Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about that because we are going, towards the end of the show, we're going to get your top 5 picks of Broadway. If you're traveling and you need to go see a show, these are the top 5 shows you should consider.
Absolutely.
All right. The Tony Award-winning Playhouse, Pasadena Playhouse, which is the official state theater of California, has staged thousands of original productions since its founding in 1917. Returns this holiday season with Holiday Spectacular, December 14th to the 23rd. And we have one of the stars, one of our faves, Lesli Margherita. Let's take a look at the little promo for Holiday Spectacular. Get ready to slay. Hey, please welcome Lesli Margherita, returning to On the Rocks. She's so excited to be back at Pasadena Playhouse for this year's Holiday Spectacular, having last been seen virtually, and we talked about it last time she was on the Playhouse production of You I Like, which was filmed during COVID, so that was an interesting experience. She won the Laurence Olivier Award for her West End debut in Zorro the Musical, originated the roles of Mrs. Wormwood and Matilda, and Mona Kent in Dames at Sea on Broadway, and off-Broadway she received Drama Desk, Lortel, and Outer Critics Circle nominations for Who's Holiday, Emoji Land, and A Sith of Time, and her TV credits, by the way, including recurring and guest starring roles on Minx, The Fairly Odd Parents, The Rookie, The Crew, Raven's Home, Homeland, Instinct, 7 Seconds, and Elementary, just to name a few. And on film, she can be seen on HBO in The Many Saints of Newark and on Netflix in Opening Night. And her voice can be heard on several animated films and shows, including Fox's Housebroken, Disney's Cinderella 3, Nickelodeon's SpongeBob SquarePants, and add to that a myriad of regional theater credits, including leading roles in Damn Yankees, Guys and Dolls, The Flamingo Kid, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Kiss Me Kate, Man of La Mancha, Little Shop of Horrors, and Spamalot. And her album, Rule Your Kingdom, is available from Broadway Records, and I highly recommend you download that and stream it. Please welcome back Lesli Margherita. There we go. Cheers, sweetie. Cheers. Yes. So I just have to say, this is your only day off, and so we are so honored that you are here. Because I know, as an actor, having the one day off, it's like I got to do laundry, I got to sleep, I got to watch Judge Judy. Like I got things to do, and you're spending it with us. So I'm so excited. We're going to talk about the holidays. I want to know, what were the holidays like for you as a kid? What was going on? What were some of your family traditions?
Oh my gosh, I am a huge Star Wars nerd.
Yes, I heard.
As a child, I always got Star Wars toys instead of Barbies. And it was huge. Christmas to me was massive. And we were just talking about, my family and I, there was one Christmas, I grew up on a ranch, on a cattle ranch. And we had a cellar in our ranch house. And my mom had gotten me all of these strawberry shortcake dolls. And there was a flood in the cellar, and all I can remember is my mother screaming, like, get the toys, and I wasn't supposed to know. And so my father was screaming, these goddamn fruitcakes! And that's like one of the things that I remember the most about Christmas. But it was always a huge deal. I'm the youngest of four, and so my older sisters would be, the elves on the phone when I would call Santa.
Oh, that's
cute. It was really, really fun. So I love Christmas.
Now, were you like in the school pageant shows?
I was already as a kid, much like your guest host, performing. So I remember doing major shows when I was like 8 or 9. And so I was kind of probably doing regional theater from then, because we didn't really have Christmas pageant.
Well, and they were like, we need you to play Mary, and your agent's like, she's booked and blessed.
She's on the road. Yeah.
Is this an equity production? It's third grade pageant.
Right, yeah. So then, no.
All right, Pasadena Playhouse holiday show. That's not your only holiday show that you have done. You appeared as Cindy Lou Who in the off-Broadway one-person show, Who's Holiday? What was your creative process in putting together a character that we know and love, but we don't really know that much about, and then we see her in the future? Where do you start to build a character like that?
Well, what was great about what Matthew Lombardo wrote is that it really had, other than the lore of the Grinch, she had a completely different life. Her life went off the rails. And so, I don't have experience in jail, knock on everything, or with illegal substances. They even had to teach me how to use a who bong. So that was a fun day at rehearsal. No, I mean, the hardest thing, honestly, was that show is completely in rhyme.
Oh, my
and
God.
There's no one to bail you out. So there were
Wow.
many times that I would mess up a line and then have to create my own rhyme with the wrong line that I had just said. Well, that was the hardest thing. And it's really, I tell everyone, if you get the chance to do a one-person show, do it. You will be scared shitless, but it will be the best thing you do. They would push me out on stage every night because I was like, I can't do it. I can't go. And then once I was there, I was fine. But I ended up loving her, and I love that show because it is so bawdy and so funny.
Yeah.
Then it was also so heartbreaking, and it was just like the perfect little holiday nugget. And I really hope I get to do that again.
Well,
somewhere.
I
I
would love to
do
see
it.
that.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. It's so great.
Where did that idea come from? It just,
That was Matthew Lombardo, the playwright. He had written this piece, I think, in a smaller form, and Carl Andrus had directed that smaller piece, I believe. And so then he expanded it, and originally we were going to go out of town with it, and it just so happened that the West Side Theater off Broadway opened up, and I was lucky enough to be asked to do it. But it was all his idea, and it hadn't been done before, which I loved as well. So it was kind of in process, and it was just a really great group of people, and I ended up just loving that show so much.
Well, I know, like, we talk a lot about Broadway, but off-Broadway is equally full of just absolute nuggets of amazing theater and acting.
Well, and sometimes you're able to do things that you can't do on Broadway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Which is why people should try off-Broadway shows. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, things like Emoji Land, that everyone went, Emoji Land,
Yeah.
that was the most stacked cast
Yeah,
I've
right?
ever been a part of. And it was so fun and so incredible, but that was never, that wouldn't have gotten done on Broadway. And it was so I love off-Broadway. It's a little less pressure, and you can really do some amazing stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you think back to shows like Little Shop, like would Little Shop have ever become the hit it was if there wasn't an off-Broadway to
No.
display it, right?
Yeah, completely.
All right, last time you were here, we talked extensively about your theater career, but this round, we got a lot of questions about your screen work this time, so I'm going to sprinkle in among this interview just little, like, spill the TV tea. Since the show is in constant repeats. What was that? Repeats. Look, I'm off Broadway.
You just entered shocked all of a sudden.
The show is in constant repeats right now, and some of the leads are doing an episode-by-episode recap, which is very interesting. But you are on an episode of Charmed.
Again, I am 92 years old and have been doing this forever. I was very lucky when I first moved to Los Angeles. I went to UCLA because I had a job performing in the shows at Disneyland. So I chose to go to UCLA because I wanted to be a Disney performer.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a lot of television work. And Charmed was one of the first guest starring roles I had. I had done a series, and that was a spectacular failure. And so I started doing stuff. And I loved Charmed already. So to get to do this, it was a really fun role. And I look at it now, though, because they are going back. And so many people get me on social media going, is this you? Like, I look like a baby. But it was so great. They were so nice. And yeah, I still love that show.
I mean, it's a great show. Not the reboot, but the original.
Yeah, I know the original is wonderful.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen the reboot.
But it was a huge show when it came out. It was so popular. But now we find out, like, all the tension that was going on the set and the drama. Did you experience any of that, or it was just a really positive experience? And you must have been nervous at being kind of your first big show.
I wasn't too nervous. I remember Alyssa Milano being so nice.
Yeah.
Rose McGowan was already on the show at that point, so I think some of the tension,
Had
I
gone.
think a couple people had left.
I love you said a couple of people. We know who.
I saw nothing. I had a blast. I had a great time. So I didn't get any of the drama and was there, every day with them and never saw it. They were so kind. I remember especially Alyssa was very, very kind.
I've heard that she's very, very sweet. Now, with your list of all these TV credits, is there a show that sticks out in your mind as your favorite experience, or a role that you're like, that was a fun guest spot? I would have loved to have come back and explored the character more, or the show cast more.
There are a couple. The first one was Homeland. I loved because I got to do multiple episodes, and it was so not what people think I do. And it was so great to be able to just do a drama, and because comedy's so much harder.
So hard.
Especially on TV and film.
Yeah.
Because it has to be so contained and it just has to be planned out within an inch of its life. So getting to do a drama was actually very freeing. And I love Mandy Patinkin and got to know him on that. And so I loved Homeland. I was already a fan. And then honestly, one of my favorite jobs was a pilot that never aired for ABC. And that's what happens to us is we'll do a pilot and you think, this is a show that's going to make me a TV star, and then it doesn't get picked up. And sometimes those are incredible shows that people work so hard on in front and behind the camera that nobody ever sees, which is it's kind of like akin to workshops for Broadway. I've been involved in some workshops for Broadway that I'm like, this is better than anything I have seen, and it just doesn't make it, whether that's money or producers. It is really heartbreaking. So there is that side to both of Broadway and TV as well. But yeah, I love the shows that I get to go on for a few episodes. And I've been lucky that I get to do that quite often. But yeah, it's really fun. I love it.
I've always been most respectful of the actors that can go back and forth from stage to screen to. And TV is different from film, of course, too. So how is that for you? Is it easy or seamless now, or was it ever?
I think because I was lucky enough to start it so young, it wasn't a big deal to me. My first television series I had never been on TV before, and then I was on 22 episodes of a series, and I learned so much from that. And so I don't feel like it, and being so young, I think I was like 19 or 20, like you just go, okay, this is what we're doing. And so it wasn't a big deal for me. Now shooting a multicam, like a sitcom, is so much like theater because there is an audience there. And I when COVID was happening, I was shooting The Crew with Kevin James, which is another I loved getting to do a bunch of episodes for them. And I remember COVID happened, and we had to shoot an episode where the audience wasn't there, and it's crazy because you feed off of that live theater. And often, anything else that doesn't have an audience, it is hard because, especially comedy, you can set up a joke and do it, and then there's silence. And for theater people, it's akin to die. It's so hard. And, the thing that is, I think the only thing that was difficult, especially now getting to do it more often in TV and film, is that the performance isn't up to me. It's up to the editor.
Yeah.
And the director, and producers, because I don't get final say on, oh no, that take is better, or blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can say, hey, I really like that, and everyone will be like, great. But so that's difficult.
Thanks.
Because theater, even though it's, thanks. Even though theater is very collaborative, and you have somebody, an associate, giving you notes all the time, and it's still, you're the end product, really, is what the audience sees, And so that's something that took a lot of getting used to be like, wait a minute, that wasn't my reaction, and sometimes it's not always favorable, and you look like a crappy actor. But because it's just how it goes.
Well, and there's also that thing as actors, we love to feed off on notes that we're given because it means that people are paying attention to what we're doing and offering feedback, and then you take the note. On film, if you do well, they don't say anything. It's like, great, next take, next scene, whatever. Great, fine, whatever. It's like, can I get a little, that was great,
It's so, it's so quick, and there's so much money riding on it that it's just, you have to be uber prepared. You don't want to be the one messing up your lines and holding up the shot. It's really, it's just go, go, go. And most of those shows that have been on for a long time, if you guest star on like a procedural, like a Law and Order or something, it's a machine. Yeah. They know exactly how it's shot. They know exactly what to
fast.
do. So you really don't have time. You have to do your prep work way before.
Okay, little holiday question. Worst holiday gift you ever got? It was like the worst or the strangest gift?
The worst? I've never gotten a really bad holiday gift.
I've got plenty.
I got a lot of gifts, like at the stage door. I would get a lot of gifts, and the worst one I got was an ear of corn. Not anything to do with shucked. It was just
what?
I got a bag of ears of corn with no explanation.
That's so weird.
That is weird.
And I was like, thank you.
Okay.
Uncooked. Yeah.
Did you cook it and eat it, or were you just like, no?
No.
Corn.
They teach you very early, like anything, and kids. And older kids, if you're making things for us, we don't eat them.
Yeah, that's just...
They tell you very early, you just can't.
Yeah, no. That's sad. And corn.
And where corn? Kids in the would be like, somebody brought me cookies, and 10 people would like die for them. We'd be like,
And me, I never say no to a cookie. I don't care what.
And they look amazing, but we're just not. Yeah. You never know.
Leslie, I'm going to bring you corn on Thursday to the show. You'll be like, what?
Maybe supply an explanation this time.
I'm not going to put anything. I'm just going to send corn backstage. Can you imagine that stagehand is like, what the hell? Oh, shuck. Okay, Pasadena's Playhouse Holiday Spectacular features you with Marianne Hugh, Jason Michael Snow, and George Salazar, co-created and directed by Tony nominee Sam Pinkleton. What is it? Is it a musical? Is it a variety show? What's happening? Because social media, it tends to make you believe that it's a few different things.
Sure, and that's exactly what we want.
Okay.
I can tell you this. It is about 4 people who work at the Pasadena Playhouse, and this giant, much like one of those big shows in New York with 65 people and animals and flying sleighs and all that, is supposed to be what you're going to see at the Pasadena Playhouse. The curtain goes up, and that is not what you're getting. You're getting 4 people who then have to recreate that themselves.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, what a great idea.
With what is available to them. And if anybody was going to pull this off, it was Sam Pinkleton and Randy Blair who wrote it, because it is so... You can tell my voice is crazy today on the day off, because not because we're singing a ton, it's because we're laughing so hard every day. And I'm very excited to get an audience, because we're kind of like, is it just us? Are we crying, laughing, thinking it's funny. Is anyone else going to think it's funny? I think they will. It's really hysterical. Also has some heartwarming moments. And it is for, if you love holiday shows, you'll love this. If you hate holiday shows, you will love that.
So it's like a show within a show.
Either way.
It's like a dash of Waiting for Guffman.
It's very much Waiting for Guffman.
Oh, I love it.
Things go wrong. You know, it's that.
Yeah. There are people going in and out of doors, and
it is literally, there's some audience participation.
Oh, great.
There's some Dolly
Look out, Alexander.
involvement, some Dolly Parton involvement.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right.
Dolly and Christmas. It's yeah. That's really all I can say. But you should go in thinking you're going to see a spectacular.
Oh, I cannot wait. And the cast is so diverse, and seeing your social media, and you guys are laughing at social media. There was a post you did. They were at a restaurant or something, and one of your cast members put up your pictures on the Apple TV, somehow like active.
George Salazar, our amazing arranger, Chris Kukul, we were at lunch across from the Playhouse, and they had a screen that, and George saw that the Apple TV, the password was up on the screen. So I go get my picture back and my face is on the screen. And then George just started pulling pictures of everyone and putting them up on the screen, and everyone else in the restaurant was like, what? Who is that? And so it's very much a group of cuckoo nut people, and I don't think I've ever had this much fun. Rehearsing, which is really great.
Oh, I was going to ask, how has the rehearsal process been? Because I know it's like a jam-packed rehearsal schedule. Like I said, this is like your only day off. How has the process been for you?
Amazing. So fun. I mean, we had no idea what it was going to be, and nothing had been planned. I mean, things had been planned, but in 10 days, we put this together, and it has just been the most...
10 days, Jesus.
That's crazy.
It's one of the things that I love about living in Los Angeles and doing theater out here is the microscope is not on you, and Pasadena is just, obviously they won the Tony this year. It's one of the best regional theaters.
It really is.
Really is.
And the support that we get there, and Jenny Feldman, the artistic director, who I've known forever, has such a great eye and has really gotten some cool things to happen at the Playhouse in his tenure, and this is one of them, to be able to get support, to be like, you know what, we're just going to let you guys play and we'll fully support it. And it's been so nice to do something that again isn't, you know, a lot of stuff in New York is constant worrying about budgets and constant worrying about how long is this going to run, and in Los Angeles you don't really have that.
Right.
And it's just so nice to just be able to do your jobs and not worry about the other stuff. And that's why I often find that shows out here are sometimes a lot better than what you see on Broadway or anywhere else. I don't know. It's just more fun to me, and the artist really gets to shine.
What I also love about LA theater too is the audience. You know, the audience is such a grab bag of other entertainment people that are just so supportive and glad to be there. And then just, you know, theater goers, and it's so diverse, especially at Pasadena Playhouse with such a long history. The audience is part of the show, like that energy for sure. Okay, little holiday talk. Your favorite holiday song and your least favorite holiday song. When it comes on, you just want to turn off the radio.
Oh my gosh. Well, my least favorite, and I don't know why, is that Paul McCartney simply having a wonderful
Christmas.
The time between that and Elton John's Step Into Christmas is my step into whatever that is. And, my favorite. Oh, I mean, I'm a have yourself a merry little Christmas like fan. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a great one.
Such a great one. But a lot of the newer ones are not so great.
I mean, can we get your take? And I don't know if you can give your opinion on Cher's new Christmas album. Smash or pass?
I love.
Okay.
Me too.
I mean, we listen to it warming up. I mean, it's questionable. Like, DJ, turn on this Christmas song.
Yeah.
It's like,
no
what?
one in the club is going to be like, I love. I saw a thing yesterday that Dolly Parton, who's 77, had like the #1 country album. Cher, who's 77, had the #1 Christmas album. And Brenda Lee, who's 78, Rocket Around the Christmas Tree
Yeah.
went back to number 1.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
There's still time. It's so amazing. I love it. Yeah.
Okay, some TV show tea. People are asking about your experience on The Good Wife, which we know is such a great show.
Time.
It's one of those shows too where if you were in New York and a Broadway person, you
Yeah,
were on
100%.
at some point.
Yeah.
And so everybody watches to be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I loved it because my scenes were with Juliana Margulies and Stockard Channing.
Ah,
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I know, right? And I was like,
that's bingo.
bingo. So fun. Again, like a great cast of people who were all theater people. Just a well-oiled machine. Alan Cumming was there, and then I had worked with him again later on Instinct.
Yeah.
And I had done a couple musical workshops with Alan as well, and he's just phenomenal. No, I loved it. Oh my gosh, I love the show and watched it religiously, and still watch it whenever it's on. Reruns. Love it.
Okay, more TV show tea. Transparent. You were part of the musical finale, which was epic. And that show was special for so many different reasons.
Yeah.
What was your experience like doing that? Mixing literally both worlds.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience. I had been hired to do like 6 episodes in their final season, and then things happened
Yeah.
on that show, and
Yeah.
they had to take a break. So so that kind of went away. But
That's
they
devastating.
Yeah, and they regrouped and said, "Listen, it's not going to be 6 episodes. We're actually now just going to do a 2.5-hour musical." And for me as an actor, it's a bit of a bummer because then I'm like, oh, I'm hardly in it. Versus, you get to do a lot of stuff. But just being there and we had workshopped the musical aspects of it for like a couple months. Just getting to be with that group of people and see them get the closure they deserved for that show was so heartwarming, and I had a blast. And also, every time I see Judith Light, she remembers your name. She knows. She's just the best person.
That's
on the
amazing.
planet.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people has this woman met?
Oh, I
in
know,
her
right?
career?
Especially Judith Light.
Yeah.
She's fantastic.
Literally the best person on the planet. And so to spend a month with her was worth it alone. But I had a really great time, and it was kind of melding of both worlds of seeing. And I've been lucky to do some musicals on screen, and it is really cool. It's totally different. You really have to pace yourself because you're doing musical numbers 8, 9, 10 times. So it's a different beast. But I really had a great time, and really seeing that cast kind of again get that closure was really cool.
You have talked about recently on a podcast, Oh My Pod, you guys, about the ups and downs of being an actor, and talking about, you take roles. That's a pleasure to take any type of role. Can you expand on that a little bit and talk about, like you've discussed, you've had some disappointments in your career. We know COVID was difficult, and then we know right after COVID, got a little time, and then we went into an actor's strike. So talk about how you kind of get through that mentally, emotionally, and even, financially. It's a really tough thing. But you talked about being an actor in such a beautiful way. And it's like, sometimes you take the gig that you need to take the gig. And it shouldn't come with judgment. It shouldn't come with any other baggage. It's like, we are working people and we should be happy to be taking work.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. I think because I had been in London before. I had auditioned and come so close to so many Broadway shows, but because I lived in California, I loved my life here. I got to Broadway so late. But when it finally happened, it meant so much to me that the idea that anybody would take that for granted was insane to me. And when I got there, I did see many people, a lot of whom were younger, who would just call out of their shows, who just didn't want to do it. And I get it to some degree, but because I had fought for so long and I finally was there, I was not missing shows. It took me 10 months to call out. They had to finally be like, can you please take a day off? I said I was going to become involved with everything. And then when you're not in a Broadway show, for me, I had always done regional theater. That has been the best experiences for me and the best roles. that I get to do. So when I wasn't in a Broadway show, I'm going to go over here and do a show in wherever. And that got some flack. And I found that with everybody, that if a Broadway person
Right.
then goes to do a different role or like a festival show or a regional theater, there's so many people that were like, you shouldn't be doing that. And that's so dumb.
Yeah.
Because work is work is work. And I'm not going to get to play Aldonza on Broadway, but I can sure do it down the street. It's just this thing of Broadway being the end-all be-all. And it is not, especially these days, regional theater, community theater. Like, it's so important to just keep theater going, that if you need to make insurance weeks, or if you just want to play a role,
Right.
who cares where you do it? And nobody should be judging you for that. So I did find that part of Broadway a little weird, because honestly, on the West End and in London, what I loved was that there is no difference between a theater person, a film person, a TV person. Everybody does everything, and nobody would say, oh, Ian McKellen, you can't go and do a panto, and he did.
Yes.
That's right.
It's not a big deal there, and it shouldn't be here. But I think people get so hung up on, well, if it's not Broadway, then it's not as good. That's not true.
No, I really appreciate you saying that, because there's so many. I mean, you've worked at them, La Mirada, Sacramento, like these great regional theaters that are incubators of such great work. So I really appreciate somebody like you who is going to go do those roles, and you're not going to deprive people at regional theater of your kind of talent.
That's another good
it's
point.
so amazing.
And it makes me happy, and that's the most important thing. And I try to tell kids coming up in this business, it's just about you being happy, because I guarantee you're not going to be on Broadway all the time.
Yeah. And that's just it.
I'm not now. I haven't been for a while, so then how do you make your living? You got to find a way, and something that makes you happy. And if that's doing a teeny tiny show in your friend's basement, great. It shouldn't matter. And again, like you were saying, the regional theaters, I've been a part of things at regional theaters that had they transferred to Broadway, would have been better than a lot of stuff.
I have seen some amazing regional shows.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Because again, the pressure's off.
Yeah.
You can go, we're going to do this show this way.
Yeah.
And if people don't like it, they don't like it. They have to worry about subscribers and things, but it's not the same kind of, you can take big swings
Yeah.
in regional theater that you can't do with corporate theater.
Absolutely.
Along those lines, we actually got this question from an actor. Were you concerned taking the role on for Minx, because Minx is such it's a sexually celebrating show, and it's graphic. And so this actor wants to know: did you have any trepidation in being in a show that was so graphic?
Not at all. That show is so geniusly written.
So
So
well done.
good.
Love that show.
Yeah, really good.
I just love it. And I loved the role.
You were hilarious.
Hilarious.
That kitchen scene, I wanted to be in the kitchen, like, helping out. Like, I wanted to be there.
I was so thrilled to do it. And no, I wasn't concerned about that at all. For me personally, getting like naked is only a problem for me, because I am like, I'm so sorry, I don't want you to see this. So it's not really my thing, but if I could, then I would. Yeah, it wasn't a thing for me at all. And for me, I'm just, once you read those scripts and once you see that show, it's genius, and it's just not about that.
That's exactly right. It was sold as like, it's a sexy show, and then you get through the first episode, you're like, it's about sex, but it's not. It's about people's lives, living your passion, and it's such a good show.
Such a good show.
Because you go in the makeup trailer and they're like prosthetic.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
It's a dream come true.
It's just a normal, and I got to know the makeup crew very well, because they had to make up parts of me that I haven't seen in years. So it was really a special, but it's such a well-written show, and I just loved it.
Yeah, really, really good
I was
show.
supposed to go back, and then it changed. I was so
Oh no!
Oh.
I love that. I wanted to see the dynamic of that couple. Like I
Yeah,
wanted that
for sure.
mob family storyline.
Yeah.
Like I really wanted it.
That happens a lot in TV. They say, they can't guarantee you episodes, but they say,
Yeah.
like, we're hiring you for 3.
Yeah.
And then you just do the one because then their trajectory changes, and that's always a bummer, but I was so happy to do it.
You are a judge for this year's Broadway World's Next on Stage, which is amazing. Contestants have the ability to go perform at 54 Below, get a scholarship to AMDA, which is huge. What do you think the biggest challenges are for youth hitting the musical theater industry today?
Social media.
Oh.
Social media, and, I have got a lot of scrutiny from kids. I don't like bootlegs. I don't care if you watch them, but I don't like them because I feel that it takes creativity away, because kids are now copying exactly what they see on a bootleg from a performer, and their take is missing because they see so-and-so do this from Beetlejuice, I have to do it that way. Whereas back in my day, you had, the tape, the CD that you listened to, and you formed your own performance. And I understand, like, from a financial point, to watch bootlegs, great, watch it. But then throw it out, and do your own thing. The other thing with social media is people are mean.
Very mean.
And kids aren't allowed, people on TikTok have these, like, top 5 riffs from Alphabet. Well, not about that.
Yeah.
And so I worry that social media will make people small and will make performers not try things. And so I've just really noticed a lot of kids that, this generation is so different. But then once they make some decisions performance-wise, it ends up just being a copycat of something that they've seen. So that's my biggest challenge for them. People are mean. I don't know. I could not have done it, been a performer at a young age, and have people online just being horrible. And it's really, I don't know how they do it.
And
that's the biggest obstacle, I think, for them.
And it's such a double-edged sword, because social media, I think, has also introduced the younger generation to older musical theater pieces.
Absolutely.
We're seeing clips of Elaine Stritch. We're seeing clips of B. Arthur and Angela Lansbury.
Yeah.
And it's going around. So it's like, that part of it is so great. And during COVID, I think a younger generation, because we had so many theater performances that were now streaming from Sondheim, and this generation got to experience that.
Yeah.
And, Hamilton came out during COVID, too.
Yeah. That part is, did I leave?
No.
Oh, there we go.
There.
That part's fantastic, and there is so much great stuff about social media. I love social media, but there is so much greatness. It's just those icky parts of it that are hard to navigate, and it's hard for shows too. If something gets on social media that a mass of people decide is crap, it's tough to get an audience for a show.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword.
It just goes to show how important mentorship is, right? Because, our mentors are the ones that tell us, be yourself, bring you to the role, right? Do you have people that, like, you consider your mentors that we would know?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And I'm very lucky. Some of the people, I've looked up to Bebe Neuwirth forever, and she's given me some incredible advice. And my very first television show, the director was Kenny Ortega.
Oh, wow.
And so for me to have him as my mentor at such a young age, and this is pre-High School Musical, I had already looked up to him so much. And so to have him as a mentor really taught me such a great work ethic. And, it's all the older generation of people that I looked up to that have been so gracious. And now, people that are not older, but people that I see that I was such fans of and still are fans of, are the nicest people. And I find that the most talented people are the nicest.
Yeah.
And it just, there's no competition with people coming up, and that's why I hope to continue and kids coming up, younger people coming up. I hope that I can give them some good advice. Yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard. I see what they go through, and it just, yeah, I just want them to be themselves, and for, it's the only way that theater is going to keep going is to try new things and have new voices.
Well, and having people like you were talking about social media, you've shared on social media. You've shared when things are just not going well. You shared the joy. You've shared the frustration. And that's so accessible, and it's so pleasant to see, because it's like we all have those moments. If an Olivier award-winning actor can have a bad audition or just a really low day, then we're all going to be okay.
It's really important to share. It makes you not feel alone.
Yeah.
And acting, it can be very isolating, especially if you're not booking, if you're not working. And another thing about social media, you are inundated every day with people being like, cat's out of the bag. We just got the,
Yeah.
And it's really hard, especially if you've been working and it hasn't hit yet. It's really hard to say, even to myself, keep going. It's just like a cycle, and it's really difficult. And that's another part of social media that's hard to deal with. But I've learned you just mute certain words and you don't see any of that.
So along the lines, and you kind of touched on this, we got this question from an actor as well. Doing a role like Audrey in Little Shop, being in Guys and Dolls, these are roles that we all know. We've seen multiple times in multiple productions. How, as an actor, do you take a role? What's the first step in kind of creating the character, making the character your own, while paying homage to what an audience expects? Like, what's your first step? Are you highlighting your lines first? Are you revisiting a recording, or what's happening?
Any role, I don't look up any footage of anything that's been done before, because I want to come at it a different way. And I have luckily had great directors that have gone, nice try, but
You're like, I think Audrey should have a lip. Maybe a peg leg.
And the thing about regional theater, and I did in the last 4 months, Audrey and Adelaide.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had done them before, and it really is, you do want to pay homage to things that people expect from the role, especially in a regional theater. But you have to make it your own. And for me, that is not listening to anyone's recording or seeing old footage, because I just want to do what I would do. And some people hate it. That's the gamble, is people, if they wanted to see a replica of something, then that's not what I'm gonna give you. But there are always things like Audrey's voice is so ingrained because Ellen Green.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the dream, is to put your. My college professor say like a dog, you peed all over it. It's true.
Put your stank on that.
If there's a role that is so iconic, you have to kind of pay homage to it, But you can still make it your own. You can absolutely, and that's the thing about like the bootlegs. I'm like, no, watch them to see the show, but then don't copy them.
Yeah. Well, because the homage is in the words if it's a good piece, right? So
That's
you just
exactly right.
go to the script,
Yeah.
go to the words.
Exactly
Yeah.
right.
Go to the words, go to the lyrics, especially those older shows. Like Guys and Dolls is just a perfect show.
Oh my God, it's a great show.
It doesn't need updating. It doesn't need, it's as is, like so great. And that script is just the best. It really is. So I think, again, just make it your own and trust in the people that are around you. And again, I've been really lucky to have directors. And at the same time, you got to be open, too, for them to go, I know you want to do this, but we kind of need to go back to the original version, which is fine. Again, regional theater is a different beast than Broadway or off-Broadway. That Little Shop revival is pretty close to what it was. Yeah. So you really don't want to mess with something that classic too much. But we'll see. I mean, there's a really cool Guys and Dolls in London right now that's like so cool.
I didn't know.
Yeah, the Guys and Dolls in London. I had a friend went and saw this. It was great, and I love that show. So.
It's my favorite. I think Adelaide's my favorite.
Such a great role.
I did that show in regional theater for 3 months, and I was part of the Salvation Army and during the crap shoot. And I was playing the symbols of the Salvation Army. And I was losing weight during the production. I was so proud of myself. And then I went to Clang, and my pants fell down in front of a 600-person audience. That was not too fun. Not too fun. So I got this email. The email literally said, "What is Leslie watching on TV?" That was the email. No name, no nothing.
What am I watching on TV? So I watch. It's very eclectic. I will always watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay.
What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Love that show.
Clearly, I'm a massive Star Wars geek. So any of the Star Wars shows or the Marvel shows on Disney Plus, I'm in for all of them.
How about Patti LuPone coming to the Marvel universe,
Yeah, right.
by the way? How insane is that?
Wait, because
It's going to be great.
I'm such a Catherine Hahn fan,
she's
too.
amazing.
Like,
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that show. What else? I watch a lot of documentaries. Just watched like the Milli Vanilli documentary.
What?
I watched the Wham documentary.
The Wham documentary is fantastic.
It's fantastic. So I watch a lot of documentaries. I actually watch a lot of, and this is kind of due to my husband, but I watch a lot of sports documentaries.
Okay.
Because I had ACL surgery about 10 years ago, right before I went into Matilda.
Wow.
And my husband would make me watch these sports documentaries about athletes that were hurt and their mindset, even like Olympic athletes, no matter what sport it is, the mindset was so incredible to me. So I watch a lot of sports documentaries, even if I'm not a fan of the sport. It's just about people's determination and
overcoming
work
obstacles.
Yeah. It's
So I
got to
watch
be
a lot
very
of-
similar to your experience and other actors because that's what it is. It's performance, and you're performing at such a high level, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
adversity and losing games and having bad auditions are pretty much the same. Like,
And-
how do you bounce back? Yeah,
And-
so
and-
I watch a lot of those kinds of documentaries.
And the physicality. People don't realize a Broadway actor's body goes through so much abuse every
It's
single
athletic,
night.
yeah.
From running around backstage to cinching yourselves in the costumes to dancing to sweating.
Especially if you're in one of those shows that has all the machinery backstage and you have to
gosh.
go through these little spots with your big costume and
Oh, yeah.
climbing ladders.
It really is. It's really tough. I mean, I'm going to a hot yoga class right after this because it really is the only thing that these old dancer joints, it makes it feel better. My husband will sometimes call me grandma wife. I wake up and the first thing I do is like,
And you're like, you do 8 shows a week. Let's see.
I know,
Come
right?
on, bitch.
He knows. He knows he's got that. But yeah, it's funny. Like different shows is different injuries. Like Zorro was all flamenco, and I remember I just couldn't walk on my day off.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So, it's just like, and then that went away, and then I got a new problem. I went to a doctor last year in New York, and I had broken a toe or something. I don't know. And he goes, okay, well, list off your injuries. And I was like, toe, I had this knee replaced. And I got this. And he goes, what do you do for a living? And I was like, musicals.
The dangerous sport we didn't even know about.
He's like, oh, you've got a lot of injuries.
Cause of death, musical theater.
Yeah, right.
Complications due to musical
The
theater.
show at the Pasadena Playhouse is no joke physically for all 4 of us
Oh, I can't
and the
wait.
crew. So, it's why I'm drinking Gatorade and not vodka. It's a really, really tough physical show for us, and it's all to get laughs.
I will tell our audience, those who are drinkers, the best hangover remedy is Gatorade Zero and a little vodka because it helps cure. Like, it's so good. It's perfect. You just have a little bit of that, and you're fine.
FYI, Leslie.
December 24th, after you're done with the show, I want you to make some vodka with your Gatorade Zero.
After I'm done with the show, this is one of those shows, and most shows are these days, where even at night, you're like, I just need to go to sleep.
Yeah. All right, Leslie, what is your New Year resolution?
Oh, I think to be kinder to myself. It's very selfish, but I need to be sometimes. I think it's just to be kinder to myself because I think as an actor, there's so much self-talk that's bad that we all do to ourselves. So that's one for me. And I think just keep doing things that make me happy. And saying no to things.
That's
I'm a big yes person, and it's really hard for me to say no to things. And I've just started being like, okay, what can I handle? What don't I want to do? Yeah, saying no to whether that's a job or just people.
Well, that's exactly right. You know, we have to take care of ourselves. Otherwise, you know, like RuPaul says, if you don't love yourself, how are you going to love anybody else? Yeah. And you and I have talked about this. Sometimes it's like some people we just need to say goodbye to because it's not beneficial to our health. And I'm sorry, but that needs to take priority.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's also part of that is valuing yourself more. And we talked about that too.
Yeah.
When you say no, it's because I value myself enough that I know this is just not a good thing for me. And that's okay.
Yeah. And it takes away your energy because I know that, you know, I've read about your involvement in things like, you know, just throwing this in there, the Ali Forney Center in New York, which is very similar to my program that I started here. And I just appreciate you doing that work. But, you know, if we deplete ourselves and things that we don't enjoy that aren't important to us, then we don't have the energy to do those kinds of things.
No. And that stuff is the most rewarding. I listen, everything, I have hosted Broadway Bears so many times, and the staggering amounts of money that it raises. Yeah. It's the most incredible. So like BCEFA, all those things, like you said, like Ali Forney Center, it's stuff like that you want to have energy for because that's important. It's way more important than my dumb theater career. You know, like that's the good stuff. So you want to be present for all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And finally, Leslie, what is your message to your fans? Because they love you, girl. They love you. You know how many comments I get? It's like, I love her, I love her, I love her. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Oh, that is the best.
Truly.
I love them, and I can't wait to do another show which has a stage door because I love meeting all these people, and it means so much to me that I have any fans. It just is the coolest thing. That people get it, that people enjoy what you do, and the message to my fans. I will always call people sequins because they shine no matter if they're on the right side up or not on the floor.
I'm going to borrow that and copy that.
I love that
because I've been on the floor many times.
You're just a sequin.
Just a sequin.
I always call like anybody who's a fan. I'm like, you're a sequin to me.
I love that.
It's true. It's like you can, you know, literally be knocked on the floor and you can still get up and shine, and that's always been my message in like cabaret shows or whatever. It's why I call myself queen, not because I think I'm great. It's because I feel like everyone should be able to give a title to themselves that they like, because somebody else will give you a name. So give it to yourself. But I think just that is to just keep being themselves, and I just love everybody that I meet, and people are so kind, and that's the best part of social media is the cool people.
I love that. Be a sequin.
I know, right?
I'm a sequin.
Well, you know what? Now I'm going to call myself a sequin because, like, I've been a fan of your talent, but like Alexander said, I've never gotten to meet you. I've never really gotten to see who you are, and this has been such a pleasure. Yeah. Like, I'm just smiling the whole time.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thanks. Yeah. Well, hopefully, you know, our paths will cross.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's a crazy Broadway season. There's so much coming in, and what's happening is, for those of us like during the strike, I did a ton of workshops in New York. I'm back and forth all the time, and now it's kind of like a backlog of shows that have been ready to go for a while. So it's a really exciting time. I think this is the most original musicals that has ever opened.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
yeah. This next year's Tony Awards gonna be fierce.
Yep.
Oh my! I
know.
And I have some friends that. Yeah. That are like, I don't know. I thought this was going to be my year, and it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough. Yeah.
Like the Golden Globes that were just announced.
Oh, my
it's
Lord.
like, how do you pick one? It's like Sophie's Choice in every category.
It's crazy. And I can't wait to see. I'm back in New York in January doing a couple more workshops, and I can't wait to see some stuff that's coming up in this.
Well, and we're going to talk about what to see this winter. Leslie, where can people find and follow you?
Oh my God. At Queen Leslie with just an I. I don't have an E on the end of my name.
Yeah.
I don't know why my mom did that. At Queen Leslie, everywhere. Instagram, X, is that what they call it now? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I try in TikTok, but I'm just...
You promised more TikToks.
I
promised.
I keep promising.
Yeah.
And I get sucked in. I watch them every day. I wake up and try to watch funny, like animal TikToks.
Yeah.
That's how I want to start my day, is laughing. And so that is the first thing that I do, is just watch animal TikToks.
That's good advice for life.
But I just want to tell you, this is how different we are. You're watching animals. I'm watching kids fall down. It's my obsession. I laugh so hard, and it's so mean.
100%, yeah.
But like when a toddler, oh God, you be a sequin on the floor, kid.
Be a sequin on the floor.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't care. Getting back up.
And if you're in Southern California, even if you're not, come out to Pasadena Playhouse Holiday Spectacular, December 14th to December 23rd, PasadenaPlayhouse.org. Get your tickets, because I know that they're going so fast. I didn't even get a +1. I got a me. Like, okay.
I know, because it is selling.
It really, really is.
That's good news. Great.
It's great
Look at the
news.
cast.
And the cast is incredible, and the people, the promos that they've been putting out
Yeah.
are really funny. Check those out.
So
on the
funny.
Pasadena
That's why I was like,
Playhouse.
okay. We see some of the characters. We get to meet some of the characters.
So now go to Pasadena Playhouse on Instagram.
Yeah.
And there are some little snippets of us that are very waiting for Guffman, and they're so funny.
I love it.
They're
I love it.
so
I love
funny.
it.
And you'll really get the sense of the show if you go to their social medias. But yeah, I'm really excited for people to see it. I think it's going to be so fun.
Leslie, what a joy this has been.
Absolutely.
Like Michael said, my face is just spread open with smiles. It's
My
always so
cheeks
fun
hurt.
talking to you. I remember I interviewed you for Metrosource magazine, and you were putting together IKEA furniture. Yeah. You're like, I'm sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I was putting IKEA furniture together. That's how down to earth you are. And then last time you were on, we talked about your first entrance to Pasadena Playhouse. I guess she had like all these CVS bags with her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Obsessed.
always.
Yeah.
It's like I'm just so bougie. It's like I could have like a $300 dress in a
Yeah.
Ralph's bag.
Hey, CVS, be a sequin.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
A sequin.
Yeah.
Please, I get nails like these. I'm so classy. Come on.
All right, Leslie, we're going to let you go to hot yoga. What a pleasure, and I will see you in just a few days.
Please say hi.
Yeah, I will. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Leslie.
Oh my gosh, she's so fun.
Oh my God, that was a blast.
So fun.
That is the thing about what I find, and not to be negative about anybody, but like spending time with theater people, they are just, I don't know, maybe it's the humility of not like their platform is not always like all over the world or whatever. It's on a stage and it's that live audience that night. It kind of puts it in the right, I don't know, the right size. But, that's why I love meeting people, because they're just like Leslie. They're just down to earth, but they're so talented.
And I think it's all the hard work. You can't just be, we have TikTok stars that are now film stars. It's it just happens so quick. Then you film a movie and then you get, how much play from it. But doing the shows, doing the rehearsal, we know how grueling rehearsal process can be.
Yeah.
And then as an actor, you're self-doubting yourself. You're learning things about yourself. It is hard work. And we know people that work hard have good ethics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so I'm going to just reiterate. Every year, you get to go see just about every Broadway show. You've ingratiated yourself with a number of A-list names from Broadway, getting to meet them and share time with them. So what I wanted you to do was, if you're going to Broadway this winter, what are the top 5 shows, whether you're a theater person, whether you're not a theater person, that we should be on the lookout for?
All right. Well, so the first one is the big hit this year. The one that is the big ticket is Merrily We Roll Along. And, how can you miss with the Stephen Sondheim show? And it's so interesting because it follows these 3 friends in backwards order for 20 years. And so, it's just such an interesting concept, like any Stephen Sondheim show is. And but of course, then it stars Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter, Jonathan Groff, one of the most beautiful men on the planet, and also an incredibly nice person, and Lindsay Mendez, who's fantastic as well. And I mean, I have tickets. I can't wait to see it. So Merrily We Roll Along, if you can get a ticket to that, you got to see that.
And people don't realize some of Sondheim's biggest songs are from there. Not a Day Goes By, Old Friends.
Yep.
And the album has been released. It was released November 1st. And from what I've heard from production notes and from people that have gotten sneak peeks, it really is acting based.
Yes.
Rather than, it's not the kind of show that's like, okay, now we're in for musical theater, jazz hands. It really is about these 3
and they didn't
characters.
they didn't necessarily cast 3 of the great singers.
Yeah.
I mean, Daniel Radcliffe's not known for singing,
He does quite well.
But he does, yes, he does
does
quite well. It's such a nice surprise, which is so true about, truly talented people, right? Like, they can step up and do that stuff.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge.
How scared must he have been?
Oh, my God. And to do it in front of a live audience of people, and I think, like, what Leslie was saying about regional theater is, like, when you're on Broadway, like, every person sitting there hanging on every note.
And they're like, okay, Harry Potter,
prove
sing
it
for
to me.
us.
Prove it to me. Prove to me that you deserve to be on the stage. Yeah, like New York people are tough. I mean, they know their theater, and it's not like nasty or mean, but it can be mean. But no, they're just really, really tough. They see a lot of great theater.
And what I love about Merrily We Roll Along is the three of them have done interviews. They have such chemistry, and each of them have said it's been one of the most powerful colleague experience.
Yeah.
In fact, that they've really bonded.
Mm-hmm. And they started off Broadway too. They did that smaller production of it, and it was such a big hit that they brought it to Broadway, which is so interesting.
So, me, have to be a little devil's advocate here. Tickets are going for about $400 to $500.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's because we have a big Hollywood person, Daniel Radcliffe. It's a Sondheim show that is often done, but not well.
Right.
We know Merrily Roll Along has had issues with script. It's just, it's a little clunky, and I guess they've nailed everything with this production.
Yeah.
And Sondheim passed away, obviously. So there's a lot, but $400 to $500 for a ticket.
I know. So if you want to go to Sondheim and you don't want to pay that much money, then go to Sweeney Todd or go to the new show that's off Broadway that he didn't finish until by the time he died. But you can get those tickets for less.
But I want to know from your perspective, should we be charging $400 to $500 for a Broadway ticket?
Yeah, we brought her up before. I'm in the Patti LuPone world where you're just like, there's got to be a way to do theater.
Everybody should have access.
Yeah. And they try in a lot of ways to, especially when a show gets a little long in the tooth, like it's been around for a little bit and it's not so intense, then you can go and you can get the deals from other places, but you have to be a really active consumer with Broadway shows. But I tell people when you go to New York, try the TKTS lines, try the deals online, like look for deals because a lot of the shows, they offer pretty steep discounts once they've been around for a while. So, and you get to good seats because there really aren't bad seats in a lot of the Broadway theaters. So next show.
Yes.
I threw in Wicked because
I love that you did this, by the way.
Yeah, it's Wicked's 20th anniversary year. I mean, Wicked has been on Broadway for 20 years, deservedly so. I mean, I'm somebody who
let's talk
one
about
of my favorite shows.
How many times have you seen Wicked?
I've seen it 20. So 20 and 20. I've seen it 20. Well, a lot of it was because, like running a nonprofit in LA, like when it was here for so long, because it was here for a couple of years. Actually, Shoshana Bean and
we love Shoshana.
and Adina Espinosa and Eden Espinosa. These people, they were some of the people that played those roles the longest because LA had a permanent cast for a while. And also I have a friend in it. So somebody that I actually did theater with when I was in my 20s and in my teens. She's in the show. So I want people to go see her. She's the understudy for Madame Morrible. She's in the show every night, but she actually plays Madame Morrible and has quite a bit. There was somebody who was starring in the role last year who has health issues, so she was out of the show a lot. And so Christiane played the whole Christmas week, and so Christiane Tisdale. Wicked's a great show.
It's a great show for people that are not into theater.
Yeah,
too.
It's very accessible. It's great for kids. It's wonderful. Yeah, really wonderful.
I'm really glad that you added that.
And next year at this time we'll have the movie coming out. So
Thanksgiving 2024.
Part 1.
So there's 2 parts. Now, what do you think about the casting of the movie? And I know you don't like to spill tea, but spill some tea.
Oh, every time I saw them cast somebody, I was really upset because we've had notable debacles like Les Mis. And Russell Crowe.
Talk about being miserable during
And I'm
Les
just
Mis.
I was waiting for the big lead to be cast somebody that can't sing. Because they do that all the time. Again, Russell Crowe can sing, but he can't sing Javert.
Yeah.
So, why are you putting... I mean, I understand you want to sell tickets, but you had Hugh Jackman, you had other people in the movie. But this one, I think they nailed it. You've got Jonathan Bailey as Fiyero. It's perfect.
Where's his Golden Globe nomination?
Where's his Golden Globe nomination?
That is a
I know.
travesty.
Best thing in Fellow Travelers is Jonathan Bailey.
Yeah.
The 2 leads, Ariana Grande basically has been workshopping that role with Kristen Chenoweth, her best friend and mentor, for years. So it's a perfect casting.
And Ariana Grande comes from this huge theater background that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
She was doing panto. She was at Laguna Beach Playhouse as a kid.
She works musical homages into her pop songs.
Yes.
I mean, she's perfect for it.
Yeah.
And, everybody, the whole cast is just...
Jeff Goldblum as the wizard?
I think what's great about that is Jeff Goldblum, that role is just really about personality. And so like, and it's sweet, but it's off. It's kind of odd. And that's Jeff Goldblum, right?
And Jeff
he's
Goldblum's
sweet, but he's a little odd. You know, he's always been sort of like unique. And he's a showman.
He's like, I'm doing my Jeff Goldblum shtick. Like, well, you are Jeff Goldblum. He's
and
like,
nobody knows that he's a jazz musician. Like he plays piano, he does cabaret.
Did you see him at Rock?
Yes, yes. He's brilliant. So like you get to see another side of him, which is very exciting about the movie. So my next pick was Back to the Future, which came from London last summer. You know, it's still a brand new show. Again, I have a friend in it, Jelani Remy, who will be on the Rocks. But also Roger Bart is playing Doc Brown.
I mean, how perfect is that casting?
I mean, Roger Bart is like, if really people that don't know theater as well maybe as we do, like if you see a show with Roger Bart in it, run to that show.
The producers, he was in the Stepford Wives reboot. He's done a lot of Broadway stuff.
Yeah.
I thought he was gay until like last year.
I thought he was gay too. I was like,
not.
Roger Bart wins gayest straight man that ever lived.
Him and Stanley Tucci, like, you know, it's like, play every gay role. We'll be fine with
I know.
that.
How the hell is Stanley Tucci not gay?
So I have to tell you, Back to the Future, I'm so surprised that it was a hit. When I first heard that Back to the Future was a musical, I'm going to be honest, I rolled my eyes. I'm like, how are you going to do that? And it's just
well,
like,
I thought it was going to be another failed jukebox musical, right?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
It has become a hit with critics and an audience favorite.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, because I think what they did, though, is they went to the story and then built out from it. And they didn't just make it a jukebox musical. It has great original songs. So excited about that. And, you know, now that I said that about the jukebox musical, I'll skip to Anne Juliet. Because Anne Juliet's a jukebox musical, which actually saved jukebox musicals for me. It is the show where they actually, instead of going with one artist, they go with several artists. So there's people like, there's Britney Spears music, Katy Perry music, Kesha, Backstreet Boys, and the songs, when they pick them, you can feel it in the audience. When somebody starts singing one of the songs in a part in the show, it's like it was written for that. So that's the only way you can do a jukebox musical well. If the songs aren't, you know, if it's not like, you know, ABBA, you know, like those songs didn't fit. Like they really stretched those songs to fit into the, and you were just sort of like, that song doesn't work here. But Anne Juliet, it's probably the most fun I've had at a musical. And we actually, my group of friends, we went to London the month before the pandemic hit. And so we were there in February 2020, saw Anne Juliet. After we were done, we were so excited. We were like, this has to come to Broadway. And then the pandemic hit, so it was delayed. But yeah, folks, go see Anne Juliet.
So, and that sounds like a good musical you could take your whole family to.
Absolutely. And they'll all have fun with it. Like
what's the storyline?
So it's basically based on Romeo and Juliet, so it's Anne Juliet. But what happens is when, you know, in the play, when Romeo dies, Juliet kills herself. In this one, she goes, well, he's dead. Why should I die too?
Yes!
Yes.
Thank
so,
God.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then,
Funny.
so it's very funny. And it's really about Juliet realizing who she is and determining her own, you know, life and making her own choices. And so it's a very great women empowerment show. And it's just, it's hilarious. It's fun. The music's fun, like I said. The story's good. So, yeah, go see Anne Juliet. And then the last one I picked was Shucked, which... Every time somebody goes to see it and they come out of it and they call me about it, they're just like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
That's 100% true.
Yeah.
Every person
Everybody.
I've talked to. They were on Good Morning America. They performed on the Today Show. I have to be honest, I still don't know what the musical's about.
So, I mean, loosely, it's about like it's sort of like, I mean, it sounds like Music Man a little bit, only in a well, Music Man's a small town too.
Oklahoma, but it's not.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really just about a small town and characters in it, and there's a con man trying to take advantage of everybody. And,
okay.
Yeah, so it's sort of that little small town thing. So, I mean, I think it's sort of like Americana, you know, like, and so people can laugh at stuff that they appreciate because, you know, a lot of us are from small towns, or we at least know people from small towns, or we laugh at small towns. So, you know, there's a lot to laugh at and laugh with, really. And again, there's somebody great in it that I know named Alex Newell, a non-binary actor who's played, you know, all kinds of roles. There's no gender limitations to Alex, and was in Once in This Island and played the basically the mother of the tribe.
And
you know,
Zoe's playlist.
Yeah, I mean, Alex is a major talent.
Their voice. Octaves. We're talking about octaves.
Oh, Yeah, incredible. And you know, we've been lucky because we met Alex like around Glee time when Alex was on the last couple of seasons around Glee and was doing kind of the fundraiser circuit and singing at fundraisers and stuff before they, you know, became who they are now. And you know, because Glee was a good stepping stone, but you know, was in the later years, so it didn't make Alex a star necessarily. But then all these other things, you know, so appreciative.
I have to tell you how down to earth Alex is. So I did Vacaya cruises, and the talent showed up early and they weren't ready with our rooms, right? So we're sitting at the bar and I spent an hour with Alex drinking a lot. Didn't realize who they were. And then their entourage came and then I was like, oh, well, they have an entourage. Because I was just relaxing. I wasn't putting two and two together. I'm like, that's Alex Newhall. I'm like, what the hell? And we spent the whole week just having fun and partying.
Yeah.
And they did 2 shows. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't even know. I mean, like you said, Alex is so down to earth and just another theater person that's really humble. And then all of a sudden they get on stage. And what Leslie was saying earlier before, and you know, you talked to me about, I've met people. Like last year I went on this Broadway cruise and it was Alan Cumming and it was Kristen Chenoweth and it was, I'm not going to remember everybody's names, but like they just came and hung out with everybody on the ship. Like there wasn't any, the actors were over there. They actually came down during the sing-along at night. Alan Cumming went up and did a sing-along number.
Is so fun.
I mean, you know, you're like Michael Ferrera is hanging around and, you know, my friend and I that I was on the cruise with, we just stood next to him and had drinks and talked forever.
Is Michael gay?
No. No, he's not. No.
He's great on Gilded Age, but
yeah, he's fantastic on Gilded Age. And, you know, that's somebody that I saw him when he did Sweeney Todd with Patti LuPone, and I had a friend that knew him, and so we went out afterwards, and then he remembered. He did Titanic with my friend Christiane, who's in, you know, Wicked that I mentioned earlier, so they know each other. And, you know, it is a very small community. And so, like, thank you for letting me talk about Broadway on the Rocks today, and because, you know, I just want to encourage people to go to theater. You just walk away with being changed a lot of the time,
And when we're looking at the diversity of the top 5, we have a classic Sondheim show, which everybody should know Sondheim. We have a show that's established when it was new. Wicked was like, you know, it's changing Broadway. Now it's in 20 years.
And from somebody who really was a classic, Stephen Schwartz, but he brought this
100%.
new hip musical,
And then, you know, the trend of movies becoming musicals. We know Devil Wears Prada is coming to Broadway. Death Becomes Her is coming to Broadway. And then we have, like, the little musical that could. Shucked was a small little musical. It's like, is this going to do well?
Yeah.
And then
it just, I mean, really, I think it didn't come out with a lot of fanfare. So it really won its audience by being so good. That's one of those things, like Back to the Future came with the hype.
Yeah.
You know, nothing to take away from it at all, but, you know, Shuck didn't have that kind of hype. It didn't have any pedigree. Just a brand new musical. Yeah.
All right, Michael, we have to talk a little holiday with you.
Okay.
We know you come from an Italian family. So what were some of your, like, favorite family traditions that you grew up with?
So I grew up in Connecticut, on the shoreline of Connecticut, and you know, and just being down the street from Broadway. Yeah. Well, my parents used to when I was 12, 13 years old, my parents used to let me go on the train into New York City and see shows.
That's what youth on the East Coast does.
Yeah.
You know,
you get on the train.
Go to Broadway.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm 13, 12 and on Times Square, and it wasn't as nice then as it is now. But what I really loved about my family, because we were Italian, and you know, the Italians kind of stuck out in Connecticut.
I cannot imagine.
Anybody that was a little different than
especially with your dad's personality.
Yeah, for sure. And so we had other Italian families in town that we spent time with. So Christmas Eve was, you know, we either had Feast of the Seven Fishes or our family meal was and you're going to have it next Sunday because I'm going to do my dinner for my friends. That's my Christmas present to my friends, is like we have our family gravy, which Italians call sauce, and our pasta and all that stuff. And I just really love, for me, you know, I like to be around a table with a group of people that I love. And so, you know, food is a big part of that. And, you know, and Christmas Eve we never had the fight about opening presents. Like Christmas Eve was for eating and it was like having fish because you're Italian. Yeah. And then Christmas Day was just, you know, it was just a whole different thing. But it was with my Italian family. Christmas was always with that family.
Okay, what are the worst or funniest or oddest gifts that you ever received?
Oh my God. I got, one year I got the shirt that clearly somebody bought when they stopped at like a gas station or a car wash and bought a shirt in the car wash gift store.
It's like California.
No, it was like, you know, it was like it had Santa Claus on it. And it was like a shirt that you knew was going to fall apart after you washed it once. And you're like, wow, like, thanks.
Thanks for the effort.
Yeah. Probably the worst experience. I mean, the worst experiences, they're always sad, like it's like a family member, like my uncle one year, like who was he's a Vietnam vet, and he was got really messed up in life, and he was supposed to be there at Christmas time, and he didn't show up, and so you're sitting around and everybody, but that's the thing about the Italian family is you're like, well, no, he's supposed to be here. Where the hell is he? There's nothing relaxed about that.
Yeah.
But that's probably the worst thing that ever happened at Christmas is not having somebody show up. But family is everything to me. So. Even when they're my friends, the chosen family. Yeah.
Okay, your favorite holiday song, your least favorite holiday song.
Oh, my favorite holiday song is David Bowie and
Bing Crosby.
Singing Little Drummer Boy. And that's absolutely, every time I hear it, a friend just walked in and he knows every time I hear that song for the first time every Christmas, I cry.
And even the backstory behind it. They didn't really know each other, and Bing Crosby was like,
and Bing Crosby didn't want to know David Bowie. And David Bowie, they're completely opposite people.
But it just shows you when, the worlds collide, it works.
Yeah. You can't go through a holiday without hearing that song. If you haven't, you need to listen to it. It's fantastic.
When Leslie said Paul McCartney, that's her least favorite. Did you almost leave?
Yeah.
I saw your face. You were like...
I know, because I kind of like that song. Because it's Paul McCartney and he's doing something really, strange for him, right? Yeah. And you said the least favorite Christmas song. And I hate to say it because I don't want to offend many of my Latino friends, but Feliz Navidad has only Feliz Navidad, Prospero Año. It's says the same words and it goes on for 10 minutes every time
Welcome
they play
to
it.
any Mexican song.
Yeah, right?
Right.
And they play it over and over and over again.
Make a good riff and then we're done. Then we're eating.
So it's not so much that I didn't like the song at the beginning. It's just after you've heard it 30 times a day and on that Christmas station, you're like, oh.
So I listened to 103.5 December 1st to January 1st. And it's let's be diverse. Let's put out Feliz Navidad. It's oh my God.
Not again.
Yeah. My least favorite is Bruce Springsteen does Santa Claus is Coming to Town. And he's so flat and he's so... It's girl, he's not coming if you're going to sing like that.
And then they have all that weird talking in it, too. No, what is this? What's going on in the song?
What a fun time we had today.
Oh, such a good time.
Michael, tell everybody where they can find and follow you.
Oh, my Lord. I'm Michael.Ferrera on Instagram and same thing on Facebook. And I'm really not on... I really don't do Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. And
anymore.
Somebody needs to teach me TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Leslie, I get up and I watch videos to laugh. And
so those kids fall down. That's a good day.
It's so great. Well, and like she said, the pets. Go with kids and pets, the ones you hate to work with, but you definitely want to see them on TikTok.
that is very true. Well, that was our kickoff to the holidays.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, and you're going to be back very soon.
Hope so.
It's always a grab bag of fun here every time on the Rocks. A big thank you to our engineer, Tony Sweet, our social media clip editor, Alexis Mendez. And you were so taken with our episode with Adam Berry from Kindred Spirits, talking about the paranormal and how it helps you through grief, which is a very interesting theme. So he's coming back for part 2. We also we're welcoming Jelani Remy, currently in Back to the Future, and the Grammy-nominated Courtney Reed, who's currently in Moulin Rouge. They're coming on together. And, of course, we have Charles Bush, a theater impresario and drag impresario.
Amazing.
So I'm really excited about that. His memoirs came out, so read that before he comes on. Please like, share, subscribe so we can continue bringing this fabulous programming coming your way for free, I might add. Until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, stay sexy, and if you drink, stay tipsy. It's on the Rocks. Ho, ho, ho. This has been another episode of On the Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at On the Rocks On Air. Find everything On the Rocks for free at OnTheRocksRadioshow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.